Hello and welcome to News Across Nigeria. I'm Millicent Walker. On the program today, National Assembly passes 7.44 trillion naira 2017 budget as lawmakers approve 125 billion naira for themselves. Delta State House of Assembly members impeach Monday Guya for alleged high-handedness. Sheriff Oberewori replaces him. Edo State government insists on restoring sanity to Benin City, clamps down on street trading and illegal parking. We'll begin News Across Nigeria with the story that the National Assembly has passed the 2017 budget at 7.441 trillion naira 6 months after the budget was presented by President Muhammadu Buhari. Meanwhile, the Senate has published a total of 125 billion naira as the National Assembly's projected spending. This is the first time in many years that the National Assembly will be releasing to the public its spending for the fiscal year. President Muhammadu Buhari had presented a budget of 7.289 trillion naira to the National Assembly, but the Joint Committee on Appropriation headed by Senator Danjuma Goje increased it to 7.441 trillion. In the meantime, at the lower house, there was a rowdy session as lawmakers opened debate on the 2017 budget. The House had barely begun plenary when the attention of the House was drawn to the fact that 51 billion naira had been allocated to the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. While some of the lawmakers supported the allocation to the SGF's office, others opposed it. The Speaker later intervened, explaining that the fund is not meant for the SGF, but agencies under the SGF's office. A joint session of the Committee on Appropriation had laid the budget before the National Assembly on Tuesday, with the leadership of the National Assembly agreeing that 7.44 trillion naira budget be passed today. And apart from being impeached, the Speaker of the Delta State House of Assembly, Monday Guya, has been slammed with a 3-month suspension. Mr. Guya was impeached this morning for alleged high-handedness and abuse of office. The Majority Leader, Tim Ohuefere, has also been suspended. The length of the suspension has not been confirmed. While lawmakers elected Sheriff Oberewori as the new Speaker, Honorable Johnson Ejiro is now the Majority Leader of the Delta State House of Assembly. The impeached Speaker is the 13th leader of the state's legislature in the 6th Assembly under Governor Ifeanyi Okowa. Let's go over to Oyo State, where the State House of Assembly has summoned the Vice-Chancellor of Ladoke Akintola University of Technology, LAUTECH, Bomosho, and the State's Commissioner for Education. This is over the lingering crisis at the institution, which has led to protests over non-payment of workers' salary. The summons come on the heels of a motion of urgent public importance moved by a lawmaker representing Bomosho North in the State House of Assembly. He argued that an MOU signed with the management of the institution had been breached, also raised the issue of accumulation of arrears of unpaid salaries. The Speaker of the Assembly, Honorable Michael Adeyemo, then ordered the invitation of LAUTECH VC, Professor Sulaiman Gbadigbesi, and the State's Commissioner for Education, Professor Deniyi Olowofela, to appear before the Committee on Education, Science and Technology. The Court of Appeal sitting in Lagos has overturned the 5-year conviction of a former Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, the MASA, that's Temisa Maseye, for alleged contract splitting. The appellate court discharged and acquitted Mr. Maseye of all 24 counts for which he was convicted at the Federal High Court, Lagos. Justice Ophelia Jimogobia had found Maseye culpable in a 1.5 billion naira contract scam, but the appellate court held, among other things, that the trial court did not properly evaluate the evidence. The court, presided over by Justice Yagata Nimpa, resolved all 5 grounds of appeal in Mr. Omaseye's favor. The former DG supporters who had turned up in court burst into jubilation after the judgment was delivered. And a police inspector is reported killed and 3 others injured. This is following an attack by a suspected Fulani herdsman in Abraka, Istope East area of Delta State. The police public relations officer, Mr. Andrew Anyamaka, confirms the incident, reveals that the police inspector and his colleagues were on routine patrol along the railway line in Abraka when the assailants ambushed and opened fire on them. Meanwhile, the police PRO has also confirmed the killing of Uheli area commander ACP Usman Dambaba by unidentified persons. According to a source, the officer was trailed by his attackers and shot at the roundabout opposite the palace of Uheli on Isoko Road.
Patrol team, Ambraka Police Division, are coming from the Enugu area along the rail line. Unknown to them, an ambush was laid for them. They immediately opened fire on them, on the van. It was so spontaneous, sporadic shooting, that evidently the officers were taken unawares. We lost an inspector of police. The rest three are recuperating in hospital. Yes, as in the other case, we're also investigating this. Accusing fingers are pointed at headsmen. But like we always say, we do not speculate.
Enugu State Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi has assured the judiciary of support in providing conducive environment and working conditions for the effective administration and dispensation of justice in the state. Governor Ugwuanyi said this at the commissioning of a 250 kVA and 150 kVA soundproof generator at the state's judiciary headquarters. He notes that the installation is to put an end to epileptic power supply resulting in discomfort during court sittings.
We had from the onset expressed our desire to create a more conducive environment for effective administration and dispensation of justice in the state, particularly through the provision of suitable infrastructure and essential tools and equipment for the state judiciary. We reasoned that this will help to enhance the dignity, efficiency, productivity, and safety of our courts, and also increase the confidence of all court users. In fulfillment of this pledge, we had, in conjunction with our development partners, embarked on a program for the construction and rehabilitation of court buildings and provision of essential equipment to some units of the courts across the state, in addition to the continuous training of court personnel.
Enugu State Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi. The National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons has provided relief materials worth millions of naira to the Kano State government for migrants as well as internally displaced persons across the state. Receiving the materials at the state's library complex, Governor Abdullahi Ganduje says his administration will ensure judicious distribution of the materials to the beneficiaries. Kano State has witnessed an influx of IDPs from the northeast and migrants from Nigeria's neighboring countries in recent years.
These are mostly asylum seekers from the Central African Republic and internally displaced persons from the northeast in Nigeria who relocated to Kano State as a result of insurgency in the region. Governor Abdullahi Ganduje, who received the items on behalf of the state government, appreciates the donation of the federal government. But then, he is concerned on the increasing influx of displaced people and migrants into the state.
In order to have our our contribution, we decided to establish a full-fledged boarding primary school for those children who lost their parents. Our intention is to hold them back here until they attain university education, if they so wish.
The commissioner of the agency, National Commission for Refugees, is aware of the situation. She says they are working out ways to provide a lasting solution to the problem.
The Commission is poised to depart from the level of providing relief materials and handout assistance to the level of providing durable solutions to these persons of concern. This will no doubt enable them to attain the much-needed self-sustenance after the harrowing experiences of displacement and its attendant loss of means of livelihood.
Kano is one of the states that is home to the displaced as well as migrants. The state government says over 1,000 displaced people are living in the state, and they need to be adequately catered for.